That's pretty much where this trail comes to an end. And we're right above an area, descends down into a rapids on this section of the river. You can probably hear it. Take a walk down there. See where all this area, from all the erosion and rain and snowfall we've had, this all washed out, and all the rubble is caving down into it and slowly all washing out and caving in. The sides are caving into this washout right here. Yeah, there's deer tracks right here. And there's the section of the river that I guess a 7 or 8 foot hominid could cross on this section of the falls. I wouldn't attempt to do it. There's spots on this section right here that if you stepped off these giant boulders, you'd be over your head. Either above or below this little section here. And it also allows animals to get across on low water. In fact, in low water, if we wouldn't have had all this rain we've had this year, I probably would be able to cross right here. Okay, let's look at this wall on the bluff here. People have undoubtedly been in this section. I'll see an occasional bottle or can laying on the ground. People hunt above this ridge line, above these bluffs, and toss their cans and bottles, and eventually they get washed down here into this split between these huge rocky outcrops. Beautiful area. Section of little path here. People throw their refuse. Assuming people do. Little trail here. Now we're going to continue my descent on this area, if I can get any further. No promises. think I can do a walk around here. Another section of game trail. Deer walk through here to avoid all the boulders and rocks below me. See if we can pick up a track. Definitely coyote tracks in here also. Big buck. Pretty muddy. A lot of deer activity, a lot of coyote tracks. Yeah, the deer are sinking in pretty deep here. It's pretty muddy. I can always tell this is coyote droppings here. I can see fur and hair in their droppings. It's pretty easy to tell. These are coyotes or coy dogs in this area. Walk up this trail. No evidence of any tracks, guys. If they were there, they got washed out by the rain, and no newer ones were left. But it was worth a try. And right there in front of me is a deer grazing on that hillside. I followed the tracks in, and there's a whitetail right in front of me. I'll slowly walk toward it, and it's already alerted on me. He saw me before I saw him, and I'm sure he's looking back behind him. There's probably some deer coming up the rise behind him, or I'm sure he's not by himself. So I'll slowly approach. Yep, there may be more than one. Well, I'm only 60, 70 yards from him, and he's just standing there grazing. He doesn't appear to be bothered by my presence. Almost like they know hunting season's been over for a couple months. And he's looking right at me now. Yep, there he is. Again, the rapids and rushing water in the river has masked my approach, so that's the only reason I was able to get as close as I was. Once he alerted to me, which he just did now, he's going to take off. It's funny how they rely on hearing or audible as a primary sense, even though they have great visual senses, great visual acuity. He was triggered. Oh, and there's what appears to be is that a badger? Something running downhill. That's a badger or what that is. Very unusual. Seemed to be black. Very unusual, whatever that was. I know it could have been a feral cat. I know we have them out here, but that was very unusual looking. That was a feral cat. That was the fattest cat I've ever seen. And it didn't scurry away like a badger. I'm not sure what that was. I'll review the footage and find out later what I just saw after the deer made its descent from up here. It was down here and crossed down here, and I'm sure there's a burrow or area it went into. Well, anyhow, I'm gonna have to hike out of here before it gets too dark. I have another hour and 15-20 minutes of daylight, so I'm gonna hike out of here and we'll resume my hike out of here and get to high ground without hurting myself. I've got some interesting howls and what appears to be something imitating dog barks and even hoots and whoops in this area. Now, nobody's in this park today. I came later in the afternoon on a rainy day. Most people, if it's not sunny and mid-70s, won't even come out to these parks. And I've been out here in the winter time and have heard some strange things and unexplainable, but yet could be attributed to humans on the other side of the river. And in a previous video I did hear hollers and hoops and some strange noise on the other side of the river. Oh, this is strange. Almost looks like these rocks were stacked here, but I think it's just an outcrop of possibly not, unless that's a tombstone there. It's very strange. It's way out here. Let's take a look from the front of it. It's stacked right in there. Let's take a closer look. First of all, this area would make a nice blind. I think it's part of an old bluff that's through erosion and just age has been broken away. Looks like stacked rocks, but I'm going to say that's a natural geologic formation there. Again, this is all bluffs and rocky outcrops above and below this ridge overlooking the river. probably the tracks from the same buck I walked up on. I think there's several that use this trail, no doubt. Well, or impression right here, intersecting this track, this trail, walking across. Could be anything, too hard to tell. Too vague. Okay guys, we're going to walk out of here and going back same way I came in, and if I see anything I'll turn the camera back on. I've got to get out of here before it gets much darker, and appreciate anybody or anyone who's willing to view this video. Sorry if it's boring, guys. Like I said, I'm still a beginner in this area, in this field of investigative research, whatever you want to call it. Still new. Still attempting to follow the clues and find out what may lead me to some potential evidence. So thank you, and tune in again. It's Don from Illinois Sasquatch signing off. Thank you, everybody, and bye-bye. Hey guys, it's me, Don from Illinois Sasquatch. As I was walking out of the area, shut off my camera. I'm leaving the same path I took, and I crossed over this boulder. It couldn't have been more than a half hour, 35 minutes ago, 40 minutes ago. I crossed over this boulder right here, and there was nothing on it. Now, there is an empty turtle shell. The shell's empty. Whatever predated on it left the shell. And it's almost as though somebody placed this here for whatever reason. I know the theories about gifting. I know they work in reverse too, but this was just placed here. And I came right over this boulder 35, maybe 30 minutes ago. I stepped right over it. I would have seen that. And I'll review the video, but I don't remember it being here. I walked over this crest right here, and I would have seen this on my right. Would have seen that. That's very unusual. Well, I might as well leave the camera on now. I find that interesting and intriguing. I guess I can walk around and look for prints, but it's getting pretty late. Sun's behind the clouds, and that is unusual. I might have not seen it. So I'll scrub through my earlier video and see if I missed it. And if I did, it's just a footnote. Attention to detail is always good, but sometimes you only have one set of eyes, and that's where the camera comes in. It can either authenticate it, or, I hate to use the word debunk, but definitely eliminate it as a possibility. I just don't remember that being there. But I thought that was unusual. It's very possible a crow or a hawk or a turkey vulture brought that there and picked it clean and left it there. But who knows? Interesting nonetheless. That's a dog bark in the background. That's coming from the other side of the river. At least I believe it's a dog bark. I'm wrong a lot of times, guy. I'm not afraid to be wrong, but it doesn't hurt to think about it and have an opinion on it. Everybody does. See a lot of leans, but to me I believe most of these are a deadfall. There's a big canine track right there, and a hoof print, and a second step, and what appears to be a washed out canted track right there. That so-called large, what I thought was a feral cat, could have also been a skunk. We have skunks, a couple varieties of skunk out here that they're pretty populous out here. They're pretty plentiful. And if that was a skunk, it was a fairly large skunk. Well, guys, it's been interesting. I feel this area is an area they hunt and pass through as far as talking about Bigfoot. I think because of the deer and the game, which are plentiful, they no doubt pass through this area and may even spend a little time in this area. As far as it being a having any place to bed down or any permanence, if they're semi-nomadic, that's questionable. They probably pass through. They probably don't stay in this area very long. They're probably only in this area when there is plentiful game, but I don't think they're in this area for long periods of time, but I do believe they do spend a certain period of times in this area. I'm sure they come through and hunt and pass through this area, and they probably have blinds and cover. Plenty of areas where there's blinds and natural cover. I just thought it was interesting that I saw tracks here on the last video I shot in this area, and I can't really explain them other than to say it's questionable and undecided as far as whether it was human or an unknown hominid that laid those tracks. Right here, another track, canted track, another washed out deer track. Well, light's getting low, guys. I'm going to shut down the camera. Thanks for watching. This is Don. I'll be back on Illinois Sasquatch. We'll probably shoot another video in the next couple of weeks. I'll be in a different area, so if you scrub through this footage, you see anything that I've missed, go ahead and leave a comment in the section below this video. And thanks again.